coronavirus has accentuated the importance of science and technology to the nation's well-being. That's particularly true of the need for laboratories to address health-threatening events. Joining us today is Andres Grechi, Principal and Design Director for MBH Architects. We're going to discuss a new 30,000 square foot lab facility in San Carlos, California, that MBH recently completed for MBC Biolabs, which is pursuing an aggressive mandate for increasing COVID-19 tests, among other things. Welcome, Andres.
Thank you.
Okay.
John.
To start our conversation, MBH began designing this lab space prior to the outbreak of the coronavirus. As a result of the pandemic, did the client request any design changes?
Well, I have to say that there weren't any major design changes as a result of the pandemic. Due to the required density of this project, scientists need to be in close proximity. In order to collaborate, they have that required attire. You have to remember that scientists have been doing this for a very long time. The scientists at this lab are dealing with COVID-19. So they have the required protection. So they wear masks, eye protection, hairnet, and their collaboration is key. The only two things that we did, one was we updated the MERV filters in the HVAC system. Mm-hmm. What that allows to do is to have more filtrations of the air throughout the day with heavy duty filters, that if there was to be any COVID-19 in the building, these filters are designed to catch the virus. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that at each entry of the building, we located a fever monitoring device, and we disguise that in the ceiling panels. And what that does is that as visitors or scientists come into the building, and the device detects any fever, it'll set off an alarm and it'll notify the visitor, and that person won't be allowed to come into the building. So those were the two major changes. As design, it was kept from the beginning, even prior to the pandemic.
Just as an aside, when you changed the MERV filters, did the air exchange rate change at all to any extent in the building?
Yes, it did. Correct. So we have more exchanges throughout the day than usual.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The project was specifically designed to be a co-working life science incubator space with a capacity to accommodate up to 50 startups. What kinds of design challenges does that present to your company, and what are the keys to success?
Well, it is specifically designed to be a co-working life science incubator, and that is the ultimate goal and the measure of its success. I mean, flexibility is paramount. Spaces need to be useful for a broader spectrum of scientists. I mean, it's also being modifiable, adaptable, flexible. Cross-pollination, as we call it, casual collisions, are very important, and that's key to this building. For us, sharing expensive and large tools, such as $1 million equipment, it's key. Most of the scientists won't have the ability to have this equipment accessible to them. And in this environment, they have access to the state-of-the-art equipment at any time for very low cost, because it's on a rental basis. Yeah. So that allows them to do that. For the design of the labs, that's a different story. We spend a lot of time in the social spaces. Dining area, our small theater. The co-working and sharing of ideas that's how 50 startup companies can benefit from each other, especially when they're doing that. One needs to create this fulcrum that feeds creativity and sharing of ideas. As we all know, our greatest scientific discoveries were created by teams working together in that process. When it comes to the labs, then our idea was to provide not only a state-of-the-art environment, but also a bright and colorful environment. We use a lot of color in the labs. One key thing that we used was every lab has natural light and windows to the exterior. That's not only part of our biophilic design theory that we abide by, but it's also very important to have the scientists have the foreground and the background depth, to see that. But also for me, it's very exciting driving to the street and seeing colorful labs with scientists in lab coats. You can see this energy coming from the building. You can really read what's going on inside. long are the days that scientists were in a basement with no windows. That was a pretty horrific environment to be in. So this is what these people love the most. Rarely do we see anyone close the blinds, and we provide blinds, but they're always open, natural light's coming in, and the public knows what's going on in the building.
You're responsible for the design elements of your firm's practices, which include hospitality, healthcare, retail. How has the prism through which your firm looks at its projects been altered? And how much of this perspective is likely to change permanently?
Well, I think that the large projects, because there was, this design takes so long to happen, and this started prior to the pandemic, those are well into design. What I'm seeing lately is more in the restaurant and small retail design. Clients are asking for more space. They want that social distance. It's very challenging because, as we all know, we love to see a busy restaurant. We love to walk by the street and see, well, that's a great place. I need to eat there someday. The last thing you want to be is having dinner in a parking lot. And some of the spaces, it's very challenging to come up with good design when you have so much space that is void space. It's not filled in space. It's space so there's more circulation. So that's hard. Another major change for me, the biggest change, is having 200 people work from home.
Yeah.
That creates a completely different challenge, especially for me. I mean, having the design responsibility of the entire firm, collaborating in Zoom and WebEx is challenging. I mean, I'm used to walking around everybody's desk and using this as my tool. This is my main tool, this and paper. And we're doing that. When you have to have 20, 15 meetings, Zoom meetings a day, it's very, very challenging.
It's exhausting.
And I believe that it takes a lot more to acquire that design that you are. We're adjusting. I have to say that I'm extremely impressed with everyone in our firm, not only embracing it, but exceeding at it. I'm the dinosaur. I mean, to me, it's just, on the end of the day, I was telling somebody the other day that I've never worked this hard in my life, I don't think. Even in the beginning days when I started the firm, this is just, the days are a lot longer. It takes a lot more energy, but we have to adjust.
Getting back to the lab, other firms I've interviewed recently expect a boom in science and technology, construction and renovation demand over the next several years. What's your firm's take on the market, and how are you gearing up for it?
Well, we're experiencing the same thing. At the moment, we have 2 other fairly large life science buildings under construction. We have 3 on the board. We have several interviews for lab work, not only remodels, but also ground up work. We feel that we're in a good place for this kind of work. We have developed an experienced team that now has several life science projects under their belt and allows them to quickly respond to inquiries, RFPs, RFQs. But we see a lot more of this work coming through.
Are you in hiring mode right now?
We're in a development mode. It's very difficult. That's one thing, that hiring under this environment is a lot more difficult. I'm a believer of hiring people out of school and training them through their office. And that's how we have probably 40% of our office have been with us for 20 years or more. We're very fortunate. And that's good. I think things are going to have to change, because right now, hiring a young architect out of school and trying to train them on a screen, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And so, we come from the world of you work under the master, and you watch them, and you heard, and you listen to him talk on the phone, and you watch him deal with contractors and the clients, and that's how you learn. Now you see him for an hour a day in a screen, and you go by your day. So it's a different environment.
Andres, thanks for sharing your thoughts on this. I really appreciate it. I wish you good luck through the remainder of the year. This is John Caulfield. Thanks for watching, and stay well.
Thank you.